Hi there. How are you, How are you all? Welcome to the second session of this 3-series webinar on how to plan your PhD. If you're attending this session for the first time, you may want to check out the earlier session which we conducted on 14th January, that is last Thursday. In this session, I covered what all activities you need to do as a PhD in year 1. And today's focus is on what activities you should do as a PhD student in year 2. I would also request all of you to have a look at my YouTube channel. There are many videos that I have made which would be helpful to you all during different stages in your PhD. Okay. I will also request you to subscribe to my channel. My aim in the next few months is to reach 3,000 subscribers for my channel. So your subscription will help me achieving that aim. I would also like to thank all of you who have given me some good feedback and given me reviews on my courses as well as on my webinars. So that has been very encouraging for me to continue on this journey, continue doing some new courses and doing some new webinars for you all. So do have a look at this. There is a link in the YouTube description where you can check all these reviews. I am thankful to all of you who have taken the time from your busy schedules to write such comprehensive reviews on my courses and on my webinars. So thank you very much. I will not go through each of them, but I just wanted to show my appreciation by showing some of these reviews that you all have written. So thank you all very much for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, so year 2. You need to be productive. You have to increase your productivity much more than what you had in year 1, because year 2 will go very fast. So in the last session, in session 1, I mentioned that you should try out a number of different apps or Chrome extensions that will help you to become more productive in your research. So I want to remind you all, or actually ask you if you can reply to me in the comments here as to which of these apps have you installed already from last Thursday to this Thursday in the last 7 days. What have you achieved? What are the new apps that you have started to use to help with your PhD? So leave some comments for me so I know what are the most popular apps that you all are using or you all like, so I can maybe even make some reviews on these apps for the use. So there are many different categories. I will not go through again, but I would recommend you look at my last webinar where I go into all these different apps in a lot of detail. Okay, so we are starting year 2. And I want to remind you that first year of your PhD flies very quickly, and second year will also fly in the same speed, at the same speed. So if you do not plan what you want to do or what you want to achieve in the second year, you will soon find yourself struggling in year 3. So we have to ensure, I want you to keep in mind that planning is really very important throughout the 3 years of your PhD. It's not just in year 1. So jumping right into the topic, what you should do in year 2. So year 2 is the time where you do a lot of your core research. You complete most of your conceptual framework. If you're developing a theory, if you're developing a model, an architecture, whatever your core research question is, you're trying to answer that by undertaking whatever methodology that you have adopted or you have chosen for this. So this could mean building a model, theory, or a framework, doing data collection, doing experiments, running simulations, getting your results, analyzing your results, finding how well your results help you to answer your research questions that you have identified. So that is the most important part that you're going to do in year 2, that doing the actual core research of your PhD. And if you see next, what I have shown here is you have to focus on publishing in the second year. Yeah, I mean, you can even do, or you should in fact even do it in year 1, but you should do it in year 2 even more. So you have to come up with a publication plan, a plan for publication. What is it that you're going to publish, and when you're going to publish, and where you're going to publish. So this is all very important in year 2, because if you get some real good publications in this year, your PhD examination process, your defense will all become very smooth because your work has already been evaluated and peer reviewed by experts in the field. So when you go for your defense, viva, or your examination of your PhD, it is very unlikely that you would get very harsh comments because most of your work is already peer reviewed and published. So having publications in your PhD is like a protection, like a defense, like a shield for yourself, that nobody can attack you or attack your research when it goes for examination for your PhD. So have a plan for your PhD in year 2. I also suggest to my students that get most of your work done in year 2. Although a lot of you probably come to a PhD thinking that you have 3 or 4 years or even 5 years to complete your PhD, but that does not necessarily have to be that long. You can finish your PhD as long as you have done the required amount of work that is required for a PhD. So you could do that in year 1, year 2, or year 3. But ideally, if you have completed your thorough systematic literature review in year 1 and started to solve your research questions, then year 2 is actually where you solve what you want to solve. And once you have solved or answered your research question, that is your PhD. So keep that in mind, that the majority of the work for your PhD can be completed in the second year. I suggest to keep the third year for any unexpected challenges that you might encounter. But don't get lost in the year 2 that, I have still 1 more year to go, and I will be able to catch up. I want to show you the last slide for today's presentation. Will be an eye opener for you, and I will not disclose what that is now, but that slide will tell you why your year 2 is important and why you should plan in what you should plan and how you should plan in year 2. So this may look quite ambitious, what to publish in year 2. I imagine, or I hope, that in the year 1, if you have started, or if you are starting year 1, you at least get 1 publication, which is your systematic literature review paper. If you want a second publication in year 1, it could be your research proposal. I think I discussed about that in the previous webinar, so do check that out. But in year 2, there is no limit on how much you can publish and what all you can publish. So here are some examples that you can see of what is it that you could publish in year 2. You could publish a conceptual framework paper. You could publish a model or your theory that you have built. If your theory or if your framework or if your solution contains multiple sub-solutions or sub-contributions in your PhD, for example, if you're building, say, I'll give you an example from my field in computer science. It may be that I want to build 3 different algorithms or 3 different protocols that answer 3 of my research questions. So each of that is a contribution, and each of that can be published and ideally should be published. So that way, as soon as you conduct a research, as soon as you build your model, test it, you gather results, publish it. And there are 2 ways in which you can publish. You can publish a smaller, shorter version at a conference and an extended version for a journal. So this is a common practice that we see in sciences and engineering in these kind of disciplines. Your discipline may be different and it may be only focusing on journals. So that is equally acceptable. So I have shown here both conference plus journal, conference or journal, and so on. So most of the contributions, like first, second, third, you could publish it in both. It may also be the case that you want to publish, you are only able to achieve the first 2 contributions in year 2. So that's perfectly fine. You can do the third contribution in year 3. But remember that you have to continuously publish during your PhD. That just makes your PhD research very strong, and it helps you to build your brand. You could also publish your results or analysis. Another thing that you can publish, and this is quite relatively easy to do, is to write a book review. I mentioned that you should read 5 books in year 1, and again I'll mention today as well that you can read similar number of books in year 2. What you can also do as an outcome, or as a outcome for your publication, is that you can review a book. Any new book that comes in your field, you can review that, and you can publish that as a book review. So keep that also in mind. And there is also another strategy that you can publish one systematic review every year, year 1, year 2, year 3. So I've listed that here as well. What would happen is when you are writing your systematic literature review in year 1, it may be a little bit more broad. In year 2, you might just pick up one aspect of that, and you can go in further depth. So you can get another publication that way. All right. So whatever I have told you in the previous slide is not something that I have made up. Yeah, it is possible, it is doable, and my student has done it. So if you look at this Google Scholar profile, this was one of my PhD students. She graduated in 2015, I think, and her strategy. I mean, we followed this publication strategy throughout her PhD. So I want to show you with the starting. So starting in 2011, she started towards the end of 2011, I think. We had 2 publications in this area. So her research was in the area of smart grid technology. In 2012, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 8 papers we came up in different aspects of her research. So continuously publishing during her research. And you will see that as we progressed further, we started publishing, because she had now built up a reputation, that she had some good publications on the back. We went to very high impact factor journals. So here you can see Journal of Computers, Network and Computer Applications, a top journal in our discipline. IEEE Transactions on Industrial Informatics, again a very top journal, A-star journal in this space. IEEE Technology Magazine. So this was 2014, 13, 14, and I think these papers took long to review, so that's why they came up in the next years, in 2015. But her PhD was done in 2014, and this is her thesis that is available in 2014. So, and so far she has around 750 citations for her work. And interestingly, that's all the research that she did, because in the end she ended up getting a job in the industry, and she did not continue her didn't continue into academia. But even then, she has been receiving her research has been receiving substantial citations over these period. So having a regularly publishing your work not only helps you to build your publication track record, but it also helps you to build your confidence that yes, I can publish, my work is of good quality, and it should be, and it can be published. It is publishable. So I suggest all of you who are listening now, or who may be listening to this webinar later on, that keep in mind that publishing is possible, is doable. And one more thing is, don't publish anywhere, any random conferences. Always publish in good, reputed international conferences, because whenever anyone looks at whenever anyone will look at your profile later on, and if they see your papers published in conferences or unknown conferences, it actually will go against you. It will not be you will not be considered to be a good research scholar if you're published in unknown conferences. So aim for good quality conferences during your study, or if not conferences, then journals, but aim for quality. So why do I talk a lot about publishing during your PhD? I know a lot of students, or maybe a lot of universities around the world, probably publishing is not something that is recommended or considered to be important during their PhD. But I strongly suggest that publishing is very important, because the time you're doing your PhD is the time you have to build your brand, make people know about you, make people aware about your research or about your capabilities. So what are the benefits of publishing? So firstly, like I said, it helps you to build your brand. People begin to know you in this industry. So they know that when they see your name and they see that you're published in this space, they will have a very favorable opinion for you. The third is, reviewers of your paper could even be your PhD examiners. You never know. So once you have published like 10 papers, 12 papers during your PhD, it is possible that your paper goes to the similar researchers in that field, because the topic that you are going to research on is niche. So there will not be like thousands of people working on the same topic. So it is a small niche group that may be reviewing your papers, and over these 3 years you can build a strong rapport with these people, although you do not know who these people are, but they know you, because in a blind review the reviewer can know who the author is, but the authors will not know who the reviewers are. And next, by the benefits, another benefits of publishing is you are creating opportunities for yourselves. One way of doing PhD would be sitting in your lab, isolating, just working on your own, not sharing your knowledge, not publishing your work. And for 3 years, 4 years, you are just in your own silo. Alternatively, if you are outgoing, if you are interacting with researchers in your area, in your discipline, you never know what opportunities that would bring. So keep that publishing drive throughout your PhD program. One more thing that you can do is you can plan a small or a short book, which an example of that is Springer Brief. Many of you may know it, many of you may not know it, but I thought I'll just share it just in case you don't know. This could be something that you could do. A Springer Brief is, if you read here, it says it is a compact volume of 55 to 125 pages. Yeah, so roughly around 20 to 25,000 words, or maybe 30,000 words is what you can write to get a Springer Brief. In this, the benefit is that you can have not only journals and conferences against your name, but you also have a book that goes with you. So if you have written a thorough systematic literature review in year 1, you might take that literature review, which probably is 10 or 12,000 words, and take it a step further, go further in depth, and you could come up with a Springer Brief. Yeah, so that is also one thing that you can plan. One more thing I would suggest during your year 2 is keep updating your CV. Yeah, so start a CV when you start your year 1. It may be that you may forget to add some of the things that you do. So having a regularly adding or updating your CV is very important. So start adding any relevant achievements to your CV. If you receive any awards or rewards, if you have attended any faculty development programs, mention that. if you have organized a workshop or a special session, you can do that. Am I audible now? Can you all hear me? Okay, all right. So something wrong with the mic again. Yeah, so start adding information to your CV. If you are, like many of you I know are currently working as assistant professors and you are doing your PhD simultaneously. So for you, it would be important that whatever activities that you're doing other than your PhD, you can start adding, documenting it in your CV and help build up. So later down the track, if you want to apply for a job after your PhD, or if you want to apply for a promotion, you have all this data about yourself that you can compile and present easily. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is service. Yeah, so service your discipline, your research area. So one thing that you should do is to join a professional society, whichever is the society for your discipline. For example, in computer science, we are members of IEEE, ACM, or ACS, for example, some other professional societies that we are member of, and take an active role and participate in any events that they organize, and volunteer yourself to some anything that you can help the society during your PhD, because that will help you to build up your networks, make some more connections, and you never know who you will meet and how it will benefit you. Once you publish in a journal, which you will do for sure, you will start receiving invitations to review paper for that journal. So grab this opportunity, because if you get one and do a very thorough and a detailed and a constructive review for the paper, it is very important, because when you submit your paper for review, somebody has to spend their time and service your paper. Yeah, read your paper, give your feedback. Similarly, when you receive a paper for review, you have to reciprocate. You have to do the same thing. That's how the whole academia and peer review system works. So spend, and especially for PhDs or early career researchers, it is very important to start involving yourself in your discipline, in the top journals in your area. And if once your paper is accepted and published in a particular journal, you will definitely receive reviews, invitations to review. So do a good work when reviewing papers. And as a PhD student, you have a lot of time, and the reason why it is important to for PhDs to review an article is, firstly, it helps to build your one more skill, but secondly, a PhD student is very close to a particular topic, and if that paper kind of fits within what your research is on, it will be very helpful, because you can give very detailed and very thorough feedback. The same thing can then be applied even for conferences. So if you get the opportunity to be part of an international conference as a technical program committee member, or if a conference invites you to review papers, then do take that opportunity and again do a thorough, critical, and a constructive review. Another thing that you could do is start helping the first-year PhDs. Remember how you felt or how you were feeling when you started your PhD. And if you can share your experience, your knowledge with the first year PhDs, they will appreciate it and they will like it. So be a research buddy for the students who are just starting their PhD. Okay, what additional activities can you do? Look for opportunities to apply for research funding. This could be as simple as a funding to apply for, go to attend a conference, or to pay for the registration fees for the conference. There could be small pockets of money that could be around that you can access and you can apply. I know many of my students applied for research grants from Google. So small amount of funding to attend a conference, to sometimes even to host an event. Many types of fundings that you can get from these big companies. So keep an eye on that and look out for websites where you can look for such grant opportunities and apply. You could also apply for government or industry grants. You can also create yourself opportunities where you can get funding from industry. For example, you might just go and say that this is the work that I want to do. I think it may benefit you or one of your product that you're developing. Would you have some funds that to help my research? So you could do that. You just have to be active and out there to be connect with the community in your network. So the benefit of this is this will give you a tick and edge over others if you later decide that you want to look for an academic position in the future. So that will be the benefit if you have funding, because not everyone will do all these activities that I'm telling you that you should do during your PhD. And if you do all these activities, guess what? I think you will be the most outstanding candidate in your area, in your discipline. Okay, another thing that you should do is look for opportunities to do internships. And ideally, starting from say second year, I would say, if you get an opportunity, do that. Participate in internships, maybe a small one, say 2 months, 3 months, kind of an internship, and do it every term. Yeah. So for example, do one in January, Feb, and do one maybe towards the end of the year or maybe in the middle. So Jan and Feb, you do one internship, work for 4 months again on your PhD. July, August, take another internship, or maybe continue working on your PhD, and towards the end of the year, November, December, do another internship. So something like that. So keep yourself involved and join do some internships because it helps you to network within your community, within your discipline. This morning, I had one of my PhD students had to do her final presentation before the thesis submission, and she completed 2 internships. She completed 2 internships, and that was very helpful. Kaflina, I see your question. For those who have work experience, I think there's no harm taking on internships if you are actually working in the same area, or for example, the experience that you have and the research topic that you are going to research, if it is in the same area, then I think internships may not add much value. But if your research area is different than your experience, then internships would definitely be helpful. Okay. Internship information, I think, Kavita, that it will be, I guess it will be very, how to say, country specific. So I don't know much about where you can find internships in India, but from an Australian perspective, I can say that there are many options. For example, there is this thing called as APR intern. This is so if any Australian student is listening to this webinar or video, do check out APR intern. So this is the internship opportunity where it is specifically designed for PhD students. So on this website, if you go and have a look, it will show you what are the current internships that are available. And if it fits within your research area, you can apply for that. And it is basically a paid internship. So for any specific country-specific internships, I think maybe just search online, in Google and see if anything comes up which shows internship. I guess there should be some portals in each country where such internships are advertised, or maybe contact your university and see if there are any connections that they have, or if your university or your department has a industry advisory board. Check with them. So if they do not have any internships, probably they may create some for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is start thinking about whether your research has a commercial potential. Yeah, whether the research that you do can be converted into a product or a service. And if so, then you should start looking for startup related hackathons or courses or programs that are run. And this is very popular now across, in almost all countries. You would see there would be a very active startup community or an incubator where you can go with your product or service idea, and they help you to build it further, flesh it out, give you guidance, give you help to take that product out there. Very famous example is Google. Google was started as a PhD project, and then they took their research and built the whole search engine, a company around it. Another example is Wi-Fi. Everyone uses Wi-Fi on their phone, on their laptops, everywhere. And Wi-Fi is actually an Australian invention from Australian Research Center. So do check that out later on. You will find that it to be a very interesting story. Okay. Another thing that you can do is look for an opportunity for international research exchange. So either in the current scenario, traveling abroad may be difficult, but if the things change in the future, maybe you can explore that as an option. However, look for opportunities within your country or in a different city, maybe, if not in the same city. Go and spend some time, do part of your research in another institute, another university, do some research collaboration. It will be very helpful for you to learn new things and improve yourself as a researcher. So keep that also in mind and start looking for where you want to do your research exchange. So at the moment, just look within your country because international travel is not possible. Okay, now coming back to more of the writing style side of research. Writing your thesis, your PhD thesis, can be a daunting and a challenging task for a lot of students. I have seen that in my experience. So if you start writing gradually, it will help you to finish your PhD thesis much peacefully, rather than being very stressed towards the end in the third year, last 6 months. The only thing that you're thinking of is writing your PhD thesis. So that is personally, I feel that is not a very constructive use of time. Why would you spend 6 months of your time just writing a thesis? So I don't know in other countries, but in Australia, we now offer the option for students to just submit their published research papers. So they don't have to write a thesis. So they just write an introduction chapter that lays out the structure of the publications. So for example, if you have say 6 publications, so you will write an introduction chapter that introduces your topic and your research questions, and then you will say that the research question 1 is addressed in this publication, 2 in this publication, research question 3 is in here, and so on. So basically, you provide just a structure of your publications and just submit. So that becomes your thesis. So this is called as thesis by publications. So what is the benefit of thesis by publication? The most important benefit is, because all of your work is already published and peer reviewed, the reviewers job becomes easy, because they can give you other constructive feedback, but the changes that you would do probably would only be in the introduction or the conclusion part, because the published papers you cannot change. So having a publication plan and published papers during your PhD can speed up your PhD process. So if your university offers the option of running of submitting a PhD by publication, then I would strongly suggest doing that. It will just save 6 months of your time in your PhD. But if that is not a possibility, then start writing gradually. And another thing, very important thing here is, since you are publishing already, you have got the content that needs to go into your thesis. What you would need is to just remove the common bits, redundant bits. For example, any paper that you publish, you would write an introduction, a bit of a literature review, and then your main contribution. So if you're converting your paper if you're converting your paper to a thesis chapter, these common things can be kind of removed, and you only directly focus on the main contribution. So transforming your publication to a thesis chapter is fairly straightforward. So if you have been publishing throughout your PhD, year 1, year 2, then converting the published papers to your thesis is not that difficult. So in year 2, at least you can focus on converting your systematic literature review paper into a thesis chapter. What you could also do during your year 2 is to create individual Word files or individual chapter files. Either you do it in Word or LaTeX or any other tool that you use for word processing, but create individual chapter files. Start putting the content that you want to use as you're progressing. So it is not that, okay, now I'm going to start writing, let me think what all I should write. Rather, when you are reading a paper or when you are doing some research and suddenly you get an idea that, oh yeah, I think I need to include this in my thesis chapter, just open up that chapter file and fill that information. And while you do that, remember to put a reference, because it is very likely that you will forget where you got that idea from, which paper were you reading when you got that. So whenever you write something in your thesis, do cite it at the same time. Don't leave it for the later time. In the first webinar, I mentioned about the importance of writing on a regular basis. So continue with that. Make a daily writing plan. Stick to your writing plan, or maybe even join a writing club. That way, wherein other PhD students kind of come together at a specific time and they just write. So having that community feel of everyone around you writing, I think that also helps in motivating you to do some more writing and achieve that the writing goals. Over the year, so this probably you could do towards the end of the year 2. Yeah, update your literature review. So imagine you have started year 1. Yeah, in year 1 you have done a systematic literature review in the first semester, for example, or in the first 6 months of your PhD, because that is what you have used to create your research proposal for your PhD, right? A synopsis. From that time, say let's assume that you start in 2021, and by July or June 2021, you complete your research proposal and present it. And then you start working on your research, from July onwards. Coming to the next July or next September, October 2022, that is literally like more than a year. A lot of research would have been published in that time frame. So it is a good time to kind of update your literature further. So this is where you can start adding more to a literature review paper, or if you're converting your paper to a chapter, it may be a time to add some more information within your literature review chapter. At the same time, it may be a time to come up with a second systematic literature review paper, because over more than year and a half worth of new knowledge would have come by that time. So it is a good time to kind of come up with a updated next version of your literature review paper. Networking. I said, I already mentioned in the first webinar as well, that networking is really, really important. And especially for those who are kind of introvert people. So if you think you are an introvert, take small steps, but try to network. And it is like a skill. Initially you may find it hard, you may be afraid, you may be kind of shy, that how could I go and talk to someone, what should I talk about? So maybe just plan one thing that you want to talk to somebody. Maybe if you are at an event, at a workshop, or at a conference, just plan one thing that, okay, I'm going to talk to them, ask them about their research and tell them about my research. That's it. Yeah. Prepare a script for that. Practice it, rehearse it for a few times. Next time when you're at an event, just try that. And try it with one person, try it with the second person, third person, fourth person, whoever you may, just try doing that again and again. And you will kind of feel confidence in yourself. And the more you do, the more you will feel that, okay, it is becoming very easier for me to do that. And then do something else. Add some more things that you could talk to and share with them. So build up that habit, because networking is key to your success. Those who are good at networking are very successful people. So you can check any example. Any successful people are very open, extrovert, very good at networking. They make people feel comfortable around themselves. So people like to come and talk to them. So it is not that everyone is born like that. It is a skill that you can acquire. And I strongly recommend you start building that from year 1, year 2, year 3, and so on. So in year 2, I suggest you attend or plan to attend 2 workshops or faculty development programs if you are already working as a faculty in a college or a university. Attend 1 summer school if possible, 2 or more conferences. And the last one, really, you might think it is too much, but 12 plus networking events. Just plan to attend 1 networking event each month. It's not a big task. Go to, what is that website? Meetup. I think that lists a lot of events, or any other equivalent website that may be there in your country. Check that, find out where you can find opportunities to network, and do that, and just practice what I told. Go there with one objective, that I want to meet 5 people, or I want to talk to 10 people, and this is what I'm going to talk to them. You just prepare a script. Once you know the script, you can improvise when you start networking actually. But otherwise, keep that a target, and just go there to be a good networker. You have to build up your skills, and it is free. You don't have to go anywhere to learn how to do it. Just practice something and then go and practice it on people when you attend an event. Yeah, conference alerts is a good suggestion that Pooja has said. Yeah, conference alerts is good for knowing what conferences are happening in your city in a particular month. So do check that out as well. Very handy. Self improvement. So other than your PhD, PhD activities you are doing anyway, but at the same time, keep things that you can do to improve yourself as a person, improve your skills, improve your capabilities. Being a good researcher is one capability, but you can another one is being good at networking, being connecting with people. That is another skill, another capability, or another example of self improvement. So plan some things like that as well during your PhD. If your university or college runs some uh, 1 day seminars or courses or like a hackathon, do attend that. You can learn some things from there as well. Read a few books again in this year, and if you can, write at least one book review during your year 2. Continue to learn new things. I suggested these topics in the first webinar as well. Plan something for this year as well. Okay, so here I have got some very targeted tasks for you to build up your personal brand. So last webinar, in the first webinar, I mentioned that you should build up your LinkedIn connection. One of the things that I would like to say is you can start building your networks on LinkedIn. So aim to build up over the first 2 years. If you can aim to build up your LinkedIn connections by say 300 people, yeah, so do that. And once you do that, you will find that you are connected to more people. Once you share something, it will reach 300 people or more people. So that is very important to be very active in this in your community. Okay, the next thing that I want to say is write 6 blog articles. So one article every 2 months. And this could be about your research topic. It could be something that you like, something that you enjoy. And you can share this with your network. If it is a professional article, it would be good to put it on LinkedIn and share with your contacts on LinkedIn. If you are someone who likes to do videos or comfortable to be in front of camera and talk about some things, you can start off with a few videos this year and gradually build up your skills. So personal branding is important, and these 3 years of your PhD is a good time to build that brand, because you're only focusing on your research, and these 3 years of your PhD are probably the golden years, because once you start working, you will not get that dedicated time and focused time to do your work. So if you have to, so you may ask, what videos could I make? So you could make a video on your research topic. You could make a video on your research proposal, or you could even make a video on your literature review. So I'm not asking you to do anything out of the ordinary. These 3 things you should be comfortable with these 3 things because they are related to your research. So how about making a short 5-minute video on your research topic? So just give an introduction. What is this? What is your research topic about? Why is this topic important? Who will it benefit? How will they benefit from this research? Why is your research important? So just write a small script and record it. Very easy. Once you have done that, you will probably find a little bit more confidence and more comfortable. Go and do a video about your research proposal. And once you have done that research proposal video, people may enjoy watching your proposal video rather than reading your proposal. A research proposal maybe say 10 pages long or something like that. Video could be say 5 minutes or 6 minutes. So if you can convey the 10 pages worth of information in say 5 or 10 minutes, I think it will be very helpful for the readers who are reading it. Similarly, do it for your literature review paper as well. So these are some ideas that you can do, and not everyone will do. I can guarantee that whoever is listening now or maybe listening later, half of you will not do it. So if you do it, you are in the other half. So you will be outstanding because you have done something different, or you're doing something different that others have not done. Everyone is doing PhD, right? Everyone will get their PhD. What is it that you have that others do not have? And that is what will set you apart in the future for your career. So start thinking along those lines. Blog articles. If you are struggling to think what is it that I could write about, you might just write a blog article and make a YouTube video from that. So if you have to script a video, that script could be a blog article. So you publish the blog article and make a video on the same topic. So it is easier. You can do two things by just doing one activity. All right. So I think this kind of brings us to the end of today's session. This is what all I wanted to cover. But the next slide that I have is asking you this question. Are you prepared for an academic position after your PhD? So if you are thinking that you want to enter to become an academic, get a position as a assistant professor or a lecturer after you graduate, are you prepared for that? And what is it that you are doing now, that is during your PhD, that will help you to get that position after your PhD? Yeah, it's a very important thing to think about, and you have to start thinking about that in year 2 or maybe even in year 1. But I have kept it for year 2 for you to start thinking about this. And what I want to show you now is a typical job advertisement for the position of a lecturer. So lecturer is the first position that you could apply after your PhD. Yeah, there is also associate lecturer, that is one level below. But I have just taken an example of lecturer to show you what is it that you need to have after you complete your PhD to be even eligible or to even compete with in the job market. So have a look at that. So this is the selection criteria for the lecturer level, and this is a real ad which I just found today. I have just removed the name of the university from that. But this is what is required if you want to get a position in academia. So let's see, what does it say? It says PhD in mechanical engineering, robotics, or related area. So it could be your topic, your research area, doesn't have to be this. Demonstrated track record in research. See, the first, after PhD, the next thing that they have listed is your track record in research with outcomes of high quality and high impact. So outcomes here refers to publications in these fields, with clear evidence of the desire and ability to continually achieve research excellence, as well as capacity for research leadership. So you should be able to do this after you complete your PhD. So what are you doing now to achieve that criteria, to make yourself eligible to apply for this role? This is one of the things that you need. What is next? Demonstrated ability and willingness to deliver high quality and innovative teaching and student experience to both undergraduate and postgraduate students. So this will be relatively easy for those who already have who are currently academics but do not have a PhD. So they already have teaching experience. But if you are a fresh PhD student, which means you haven't had work experience, you have finished your undergrad, postgrad, and entered into PhD, similar to me, because I did not work in between. I started my bachelor's, I did my bachelor's, master's, and then my PhD. So how would I compete with somebody who is already an assistant professor and doing a PhD? Yeah, so I need to have, other than research, I need to have teaching experience. And you can try to find opportunities where you can get this teaching experience during your PhD. So when I was doing my PhD, I did teaching. I actually did quite a bit of teaching because I was covering for my professor, my advisor, who is quite a well-established and renowned professor, and she was quite busy. So many a times she would have to attend a conference or attend a lecture or something or the else, and then I had to cover her lecture. So that's how I got my break in teaching. And that early experience, that opportunity, I grabbed that opportunity and did a very good job in teaching. I got really good student feedback, excellent student feedback, and the students started to like me when I was teaching. And then I got to teach on my own. So it was not covering for my professor, but the school offered me to teach one unit because I was good at teaching. So think about that. So that is the third thing. Demonstrated ability to interact with the profession and industry. So I have talked about networking quite a lot, and this is an example of why networking is important. If you are doing your PhD and nobody knows you in your industry, in your professional circle, I think that is a very big no for you. You should do everything possible to connect with the people in your area. High level communication skills and ability to network effectively and interact with a diverse range of students and staff. So again, this is the experience that you will get if you get onto teaching. Demonstrate ability to work in a team, collaborate across disciplines. So multidisciplinary research is considered very important these days. So if you are year one listening to this video, think about how your research can be applied, or how your research topic could be multidisciplinary, because that will help you. That will help you quite a lot, because you will not be your research will be more practical or more inclined towards practice, because in practical world, problems are not discipline specific. Yeah, problems need to be solved using different knowledge from different disciplines. Yeah, so if your research is multidisciplinary, that is going to help you quite a lot. Ability to work in a team. So here, one way that you can demonstrate your ability to work in a team is if you co-author publications. Yeah, so you can use publications as an example to show your capability to work in a team. It could also be that you are part of a research group or a research lab that is working on various problems in one area. So you can say that you have collaborated with other researchers and you have done this, come up with this solution, build this product, or so and so forth, and build those show your capability as a team worker, team player. And last one is willingness to undertake compliance. So this is okay. This is not relevant. So specific responsibilities. So if you look at this is what you would be required to do if you get selected for this position. Okay. So what you need to do? What would be your responsibilities as a lecturer? So the first is conduct research of high quality and high impact. So that is one. So focus on research. And this example, this is from a top university in Australia. So this is the kind of the most highest benchmark that you can imagine. Conduct research in high quality and high impact, including attainment of competitive grants, competitive government and industry research funding, and publications of outcomes in high quality research outlets. So it is saying here that you need to be able to get some funding, competitive funding, and your publications should be in high impact journals. The next is deliver high quality teaching and student experiences utilizing sound pedagogical methodologies and innovative technologies, and from time to time deliver teaching across a broad engineering discipline. So this is about teaching. The next thing is high quality supervision of major honors and postgraduate research projects. So during your PhD, if you get an opportunity to supervise an honors student or a master's student, do get that, do take that opportunity, because that will tick one more box in your capability, and that is you have the ability to do supervision. And you can be a little bit strategic about Can you hear me now? Am I audible now? Yeah, okay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So what I was saying was, if you can get an honors student to work with you during your PhD, and you can work together and give them some small bits of or small tasks that will help you build up your research supervision capability. And that small research project could help them to finish off their honors, but also will help you to build up your skill as a supervisor. Actively engage with industry and community to develop significant productive relationships, attract industry funding, and participate in professional activities. So all these three things I covered in today's session, if you relate back. So I suggested that you have to get some funding either from government or from industry. So government funding is discussed here. Industry funding is being talked here. Actively engage with industry. This refers to networking with your industry and ensuring that you are known within the community. Work collaboratively with peers from across the faculty in all aspects of academic endeavor. So this is very straightforward. Involvement in broad administrative functions. So if there are any experience that you can gain during your PhD, then you could do this. If not, it would be something that you could learn as when you join. And yeah, the last one is also okay. So basically, the first 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 things are very important. So to recap, high quality and high impact research published in high quality journals, ability to get competitive research grants or research funds, high quality teaching that students enjoy. So you have to be a good teacher in your discipline, ability to supervise students, so honors and masters for this level, and getting industry funding and engaging with engaging and networking with industry. So these are the 5 responsibilities, main responsibilities, and the selection criteria that I showed you here. So this is what you are preparing for in your PhD. Yeah, you're not doing your PhD. Your PhD, sorry, what I mean is that you are doing your PhD, but other than your PhD, what you're doing is you're preparing yourself for this. Yeah, so you're preparing yourself to get into this academic position. Yeah, and if this is an example of an academic position, if you're intending to find a job in industry, there may be some other requirements that they may have. So I haven't looked into it, but you can search that after what kind of jobs are available for PhD graduates in the industry, and see what you need to prepare yourself for in these 3 years. So doing PhD is not just about doing PhD, but it is preparing yourself for your career, for your future. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of today's session. What I would like you all to do now is to come up with your plan for year 2 and see what activities you have already done, maybe, or what is it that you could do if you are about to start your PhD. If you're about to start your year 2. Okay, so that's all. If you have any questions, I can take some questions now because we have finished. It's only just hour and a quarter, 1 hour and 15 minutes that we have taken today. So if you have any questions, I can take them now. I'd like to show you this comment by Namesh. Namesh says that you do not need to be socially active and extrovert to develop your network. Just talk to people online or offline with those people who have same interest as yours. So yeah, that's perfectly right. Well said, Namesh, because you can people with the same interest. You will find people whenever you attend a conference or an event, those are the people are having the same interest as you. That's why they are together in that event. So just talk to them. Okay, Kavita, your question is what content should be put in a book review in Springer Brief? Okay, so here I think you're talking about 2 different things. A book review is different from a Springer Brief. So Springer Brief is like a small mini handbook, yeah, and a book review is a review of a published book. So a book review is where you read a newly published book and give your opinion about that book. It's like a 1-page or a 2-page document, and it can be published as a paper. Where the Springer Brief is like a proper book, but it is a small and a focused book. So anywhere between 15,000 to or 25,000 to 50,000 words that you can have, but on the lower end you can have around 20 or 25,000 words in the Springer Brief. Yusuf asks, could you explain how SLR in year 2 works? How this could help in thesis? So in your thesis, if you look at the So the way it will help you in your thesis is when you are writing your chapter 2 or literature review chapter. When you're writing your literature review chapter, you will have a very thorough literature review and covering the most recent work. So your literature review chapter should not be only based upon what you reviewed in year 1, semester 1 of your PhD. Yeah, because 2.5 years later, when you submit your thesis, the literature has progressed. Yeah, so year 2 there would be some progress, year 3 there would be some progress, so you would have to recap. So even if you do not write a new SLR, but incorporating the new research in your thesis chapter is important. Any further questions from anyone else? Okay, if you can spare a few minutes and go to this link that I have copied in the chat window, and if you could just leave a small, short review on today's webinar, I think that will be very helpful to me. And I would also like to thank all of you for coming and attending this session. Please share this video or this webinar series to others in your network, in your connections. I hope this will be, because I hope this will be helpful to others very much. So are there any further questions before we close for today? If there are any questions that you think about later, then you can leave, ask them in the comments, so I'll answer them there. And the next session will be on the 28th. This will be the final session for how to plan your PhD, and the focus will be on year 3 and what is it that you can do in year 3 to complete your PhD in 3 years. So it would be a very interesting session. So this week, I would really like you all to work on the on your year 2 plan, because I want to see how that would progress. Either you can put it on Google, the mind mapping tool that we used last time, or you can put it in Google Sheets. So the links for that are there in the description. Cool. All right, so I see there are no further questions coming from you all. So thanks very much. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget that, and hit that bell icon as well. So any new videos that I make, you will get them. And thanks. Okay, there's a last quick question coming from Yusuf, and that is, COVID is impacting my data collection. What is your advice? It's an important question because even my students have suffered because of that. Especially one of my students, he did some data collection in Indonesia, and he came back, and now the participants in Australia are not willing to take part in a similar study just because of the nature of his research. So he had to rethink his research data collection approach, and then we had to actually come up with we had to redo the data collection in the current scenario, in the current situation. So Yusuf, I don't really have a good answer for you in this case, but I will talk to you offline to know what kind of data you were collecting and how COVID has impacted it. And let's see if we can come up with some solution for you. All right, so thank you all very much. I'll conclude this session here and hope you all have a good week, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks and bye-bye.